All right, gentlemen, episode 31, right?
Ish.
Yeah, I should know that. I just updated the website. Speaking of website, 3starrecruits.com. You can find all our podcasts. You can also find all of our daily fantasy lineups advice. Can't get you the lineup. You have to figure that out on your own. And the betting, which is my record is now 7-3. So if you missed out on that, sucks to suck. But new stuff coming out tomorrow. I should have it done tomorrow. No, Friday. Tomorrow's my anniversary. Happy anniversary to my wife who doesn't listen to our podcast. Yeah, heard it here first.
Nice.
All
right.
Well, in that case, let's just be on. Just kidding.
Careful, I don't know when she decides to listen.
Probably said that. It's a trap. It's a trap.
Yeah. Everybody out.
She's probably listening right now, though, so be careful.
All right, let's get into the elephant in the room. U.S. Open and Bryson DeChambeau.
Yep.
So I'm going to start it with this. And I'm going to kick it to you. Because I received a lot of calls, and I don't want to say calls. Received a lot of text messages from quite a few people over the last few days. I've had time to digest this and do some really, I'm going to say serious, deep thinking about it. You are not the only person who sent a text and said, are you going to apologize? So my question to you.
I also said, I said he wouldn't win a U.S. Open.
We'll get to that. So you weren't the only one texting me like, oh, you're going to apologize to Bryson.
I had a few people text me and ask me if you were going to as well.
So my question to you is, why would I apologize?
I shouldn't say apologize. That was the wrong word.
But you weren't the only one who texted me that.
Right.
So
I shouldn't have said apologize, I guess. Obviously, we discounted him, I don't know, for the last 6 months or whatever it was, but
So I'll get into my official statement. We were not the only ones who discounted him,
No.
including his peers, who I have a quote here from a said Rory McIlroy. I'm not sure if you gentlemen had a chance to read this or see this.
Big Domino's pizza fan.
Yeah, we got to get to that too. So Rory said, I really don't know what to say because that's just the complete opposite of what you think a U.S. Open champion does. Look, he's found a way to do it. Whether that's good or bad for the game, I don't know. But it's not the way I saw the golf course being played or this tournament being played. It's kind of hard to really wrap my head around. I think it's brilliant, but I think he's taking advantage of where the game is at the minute. Whether that's good or bad, but it's just the way it is. With the way he approaches it, with the arm lock putting, with everything, it's just where the game's at right now. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. He's just taking advantage of where we're at right now. So Rory basically saying, I didn't think he could win a U.S. Open like that either. I read some tweets from other guys on a tour this week who basically said the same thing. When I said Bryson wasn't going to win a major, let alone a U.S. Open, I truly thought that. So I'm going to props to him for playing well. I mean, you can't win the U.S. Open playing like shit. Okay, you have to play well. And I'm not going to discredit the fact that Bryson didn't play well, the fact that he works his ass off. He does all of that. So now I'm going to back up a little further in Bryson's career. I, at one time, was a DeChambeau fan and followed this kid in college. And I said when he came out that he was going to he could be a really good player and have an impact on a tour. The reason Bryson, some history lessons for you. The reason Bryson turned pro was he went to SMU, and SMU athletics were hit with NCAA sanctions. He had won the USAM and I think the individuals that year in the NCAAs.
Yeah.
He's the only person other than, I think, Tiger and Jack to win the NCAAs and the USAM and the US Open. So Bryson decided those sanctions didn't include just a sport. I think it was a football sanction.
Yeah, it was because of football, I think.
So they hit the whole school with it. So they couldn't participate in any like postseason activities, like bowl games for football, etc. So that basically excluded him from playing the NCAA tournament, which he usually competed in, I think, as an individual. They didn't have that good of a team. So when they got hit with the sanctions, he said, I'm just going to turn pro. So he did. He turned pro, and he was successful. At the time, I knew he was into the whole, like, one-length club, whatever. Did I think it was quirky? Yeah, it's not for me. It's not. If that's your way, that's whatever. Here's where I found I lost my I'm gonna say my, I'll call it hatred for lack of a better word. This is where I got pissed at Bryson. It started this year.
Hatred's a good word for it.
Okay.
From you.
It started this year. I mean, I've always been one to say that he's not a good chipper of the golf ball. He really isn't. And I think that he has actually shown that. That's not me just saying, oh, he's a terrible chipper. I mean, we've seen that. The guy was I don't know what he was like 110th on tour last year from 100 yards and in, which is terrible for a guy who's that far. It doesn't really, you would think that wouldn't compliment like what he's trying to accomplish. He is a terrible chipper, and he still is. He just had a very solid week around the greens. My hatred comes from a couple of things. I got tired of the media shoving it down our throat that he put on 40 pounds, and that's why he's hitting it farther. On top of that is the lack of knowledge from most people in the media seeing this guy put on 40 pounds of muscle. First of all, it's impossible to put on 40 pounds of muscle in 6 months.
Can I stop you real quick?
Yeah.
Steven Stamkos just scored. First game in 200 days.
Damn, it's 2-0, dude. I got the under. So it is impossible to put on that much muscle. He put on mass. He didn't put on muscle. So people need to stop. That's what was really getting to me. I'm like, this, unless he's got a needle in his ass, he's not putting on 40 pounds of muscle. That's impossible. And I got tired of hearing about it because there's so many other guys on tour who hit it just as far as him or could hit it further if they had his setup, 5-degree driver, etc. The Cameron Champs, Tony Finau's, Dustin Johnson's, Rory, Matt Wolff. We hear, like you said, Sunday, we're sitting there watching it, get on the first tee, and Matt Wolff hits it 25 yards past him, and they don't say a word.
Didn't mention anything about it.
I mean, just pissed on it. So I got tired of that. I just got tired of hearing about it all the time. But here's my tipping point. If that's your way, that's your way. My tipping point with Bryson was the bullshit he pulled in Detroit with the cameraman, where he basically belittled the guy for doing his job. And then the tantrum we all had to witness of him and the rules official after he hit it out of bounds. To me, those are things that make me just not care for you, or it makes me really hard to root for you. So as much as I thought with the way he chipped, he couldn't win a major, I think more so I hoped he never would because of who he was. And I'm going to throw Patrick Reed in that category. Patrick Reed is a great player. I'll never not acknowledge that. But at the same time, you don't like to see Patrick win because of who he is and the shit he's pulled. That's where this comes from.
All right.
So credit to Bryson for winning the U.S. Open. That's not easy. But I'm going to get into some statistics for you guys and some things you guys might not have or you may have heard. We all made our decisions based on winning score, who would win, how the Open would play, how that course played based off prior championships at Winged Foot. Social media that week, pictures, video we'd seen of people throwing balls in the rough. Mm-hmm. They cut the rough Tuesday night.
Yep.
And I listened to a short clip of an interview from Ricky Fowler's caddy, who said we played Tuesday, and if you hit it in the rough, if you were in that long rough, he goes, we had just basically come to terms with if you hit it there was an extremely high chance you were going to get a terrible lie and you were just chopping it out and trying to advance it. That was not the case Wednesday. He said they cut just enough that it was the total opposite of that. I don't know about you guys. I watched a ton of coverage Thursday, Friday. That course did not play like a U.S. Open. I watched guys hit balls out of the rough that not only would land on the green and spin and stop, I watched a guy back one up to a tucked pin. That course, I mean, I think it would play different in June.
I was going to say, I think that was a big key. They were a little softer being in September than they would have been in June or July.
You're right. I think things would have been faster. I'm very curious of how that course would have played had they not gone out and cut the rough.
Yeah.
Sounds like, I mean, they said they didn't cut a ton, but it's grass. Like they cut just enough where he said the difference of getting a club in a ball and not getting a ball was whatever they cut off the rough, top of that rough.
Yeah, and there was only 11 guys that hit over 50% or more of fairways, which is crazy.
So that's, maybe you were getting to this. That's the stat that jumps out to me most is Bryson hit 23 of 56 fairways, which is by far the fewest fairways hit by a U.S. Open winner ever. I think Trevino, he basically surpassed Trevino. That hit 27 one year.
I think so, yeah.
And then it was Tiger twice,
30,
I believe,
right?
at 30 and 31.
Yeah.
So he by far hit the fewest fairways out of any U.S. Open champion, which further supports that the rough was not as advertised early in the week and probably wasn't as bad as it typically is in a U.S. Open.
Yeah, and you think and you say that, and obviously we're talking about Bryson, but even Matt Wolff on Saturday shot 5 under and hit 1 fairway all day.
Yeah, I mean, going into Sunday,
Yes.
Matt had only hit 12. Bryson had hit.
Yeah, I think Matt
17.
I think Wolff only ended up with like 16 or 17 for the week.
Yeah,
So
I mean, it was basically proof in the pudding that my prediction he would never win the Open was based off what I normally see out of a U.S. Open. And I think the consensus here is if I would have told any of you Wednesday night last week when we did our podcast that the person winning the U.S. Open only hit 23 fairways, you would have told me I was crazy.
yeah, that's
Correct. I mean, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, I pretty much said that I thought we would see, because the rough was advertised as being so long, we saw them putting, those Arnold Palmer cans that are this tall and it disappearing in the rough, that I thought we'd see a lot of guys hitting 2 and 3 irons off the tee in order to keep them in play, and that's how the winner would have to play the course.
I also heard there was a not so pleasant meeting Thursday night between the USGA and the grounds supervisors, the 4 of them.
Yes.
and you could see a difference from just Friday or Thursday to Friday in scoring.
Yeah, and there was some speculation that they did that for pace of play Thursday, Friday. That was a little softer because they want guys out there forever.
That's one thing I don't care about in a major.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's a little bit slower.
Well, I think they said they were worried about it because of daylight.
That
was their biggest issue, was being able to get.
I heard it was daylight, but I still think the superintendents have that little bit of pride, and whatever they did to cut that rough, apparently Tuesday. I just learned this yesterday that they cut that rough. Had to have been Tuesday night or early Wednesday morning before everyone got out there. Was enough to make it less gnarly. I mean, I saw a guy, I can't remember his name. I mean, he was right, short-sided, about 140 yards out. He hit an iron, and they couldn't see his shoes, couldn't see the ball. Took a whack at it, took 2 hops, spun back 3 feet. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. He was in 5 inches of rough. Why this isn't the U.S. Open? So, no, I will not apologize to Bryson because, I mean, I'm going to give him props. He won the U.S. Open. You can't. I'll never take that away from him. My disdain for him is his attitude and who he is as a person on the course. He might be the coolest guy in the world off the course.
Right.
But we see him on the course and the bullshit that he does. And to me, that's not acceptable.
Yeah.
It's hard to root for a guy like that.
Yeah. I'm going to pretty much, I think, very well said by you. I'm going to pretty much agree with everything you said. I think, I don't know when this was, earlier this spring, when the restart happened or whatever, we talked about Bryson. We've talked about him a few episodes now. I said that I thought this newfound playing style of putting on this weight, swinging out of your shoes, would probably find him a few wins this year.
Yep.
I did say that.
Yes, you did.
I clearly said that I didn't think he would win a major. So, again, I'll eat crow on that. He did. So, credit to him for that. But I think it's the antics that you've already mentioned with the rules officials, the fire ant incident. His interviews are just so awkward that because I think he comes off with this egotistical, I'm smarter than everyone. Why is everyone else not playing golf the way I'm playing it?
Yeah.
Kind of
I
attitude
agree with that.
that rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah.
So did I say he would not win a major? Yes, I did. So I was wrong about that. But I still think the guy's an asshat and a bad personality to watch on TV.
I agree.
And the distance thing, like you said, it gets annoying because does he hit the shit out of the ball? Yes, he does. But again, on Sunday he was paired with Matt Wolff. Matt Wolff outdrove him on at least half the holes. They didn't mention that. But when Bryson outdrove Wolff on certain holes, it was like an amazing feat. Bryson was 7th in driving distance this week at 325.6 yards. That was for all 4 rounds, average. DJ was number 1. Matt Wolff was number 2. They were both in the 333 yards. So the guy was 7th in the field. It's not like he's first in driving distance in the tournament with a 20-yard gap between him and second, which is the way that they're making it sound. Like he's playing golf driving the ball 360 and the next closest guy's hitting at 330. And it's just not the case. So it's not factual what they're saying to us.
That's what's irritating.
Does he hit the ball a long way? Yes, he does. But so did 30 other guys in the field.
If I was him, I'd be a little pissed off that they're not talking about. Well, he won't be pissed off about this because we've all seen the clips of him pre-round. Just like you said earlier, you guys said I'd love to see his TrackMan numbers and like just to see it for his other clubs. But he just every time they clip to the range, it's him hitting driver.
That's swinging out of his shoes every
time, and then checking his every shot. He goes over the TrackMan wherever your flight scope he's got set up.
I'm pretty sure you can check that on the TrackMan site. A lot of the PJ pros are on there. I think you can check all their clubs.
I wouldn't doubt
all
it.
day.
The one thing that really stuck out to me when I was watching him hit range balls, that like the live from the range, they do that right beforehand, is we used to hear about it a lot, but the stack and tilt golf swing that we know doesn't work out long term.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't. It creates a two-way miss.
Yeah.
Go watch Bryson DeChambeau swing. Stacks everything over that front side with those awkward-ass arms of his, picks it straight up vertical in the air, and tilts right through. He stacks it and tilts it. He might call it some other scientific method, but it's just a revised stack and tilt.
No, you're right.
It won't pan out long term.
And like,
maybe I'll end up putting my foot in my mouth by saying that, but he will either make a major swing change or it won't pan out long term.
Or he's going to get hurt. That's my prediction.
That too.
He's going to end up with a serious injury because of the way he's playing the game.
Especially the amount of time he spends on the range just pounding balls.
Yeah.
I would say it'd be a hip injury if I had to.
Or a
knee.
I'm going lower back or knee.
I'm not going to take away the guy's work ethic. I mean, Barry texted me and said, "You got it. He did it his way." Well, sure. So did Mike Weir. Mike Weir laid up on purpose in the Masters that year and won the Masters. Mm-hmm. He laid up on every par 5 on purpose. So I guess you could call that Mike Weir's way. But my disdain is the bullshit that gets shoved down our throat, and then he just kind of feeds into it like a child and as a person. So, no, I will not apologize. If and there were by chance you were to hear this or any of our episodes, I still wouldn't apologize to him in person. I would probably tell him that I think he's an asshole on the golf course. You might be the coolest guy off the golf course, but you got to clean it up on the golf course if you're going to be a professional. The key word there being a professional, and he's not.
Yeah, so I didn't watch any Sunday because it was my anniversary and we went to casino and stuff, and I was watching football, so I didn't watch any coverage Sunday at all. But I didn't see his press conference after he thanked 300 sponsors or something. Mm-hmm. But I was listening to a podcast this morning, and that's how they opened their podcast. They literally thanked 500 things. It must have been whatever was sitting on the table in front of them.
I turned the channel.
Yeah,
but and even so, I don't know if you guys saw the Barstool interview with them after. He's out in Denver testing a 48-inch driver.
Yeah,
right now.
I heard he was going to be testing with Cobra or something.
Yeah, so he's testing a driver right now, and we can get in this later, but during the Tiger match yesterday, Rose must have an extra long driver as well. I don't know how long it is because Tiger was asking him, "Do you have to stand further up, further back?" He was asking him a ton of questions. So I don't know if Rose uses a longer driver than most guys do as well.
It's possible. I mean, some guys do an inch long.
Yeah, I didn't know if he felt like he lost distance or if he.
A lot of guys use an inch shorter. When you look at TrackMan numbers, 1 inch off has almost no effect on the total distance.
For control. Rose is a pretty tall guy too.
Yeah. Control.
Yeah. So the way Tiger was talking, it sounded like maybe Rose uses a longer driver than most guys do.
But if I was Bryson, I'd be disappointed. I'd be standing in the media center saying, "How come nobody's talking about my putting?"
He was what, third?
He was
18th in putting this week, but
he was first in strokes gained. I had him 11th in putting, but based off the U.S. Open stats website. And he only had 3 putts. His proximity to the hole was on average 43 feet. So to me, that just shows you could bomb it down there, gouge it out under the green, and you had to take your chances with your putter. Yeah. You got to hit in the right spots with your putter. That's what I noticed on Sunday when we were watching. All those 5 to 8 footers, he made them.
Yeah.
And Wolf didn't. And that was the difference in that entire day.
Wolf didn't play good.
No, he
Sunday.
didn't.
And I said that a couple times while we were watching. Yes, Bryson played solid Sunday. Sunday was pretty much the only day I watched, but everybody else made it easy on him. I mean, you figure Wolf only had to shoot 1 under on Sunday to tie. So this sounds like I'm discrediting Bryson, which we usually do, but these guys kind of made it easy on him.
Yeah,
nobody put pressure on him.
He for sure. Yeah, he for sure probably just. He probably played different at some point. Like, oh, I got a 5-shot lead.
Right.
I talked to Matt James on the phone today, and we were talking about it, and he said, I felt like I sat there the entire time, just waiting for that one shot. He said because of his play style. Like, I didn't think he'd win the U.S. Open either, and like, he's just pounded it. I think the stat stood out to me for him all week that was crazy because I'm like, this is clearly not U.S. Open-esque. Is Saturday. We didn't watch any of it. He hit 3 fairways on Saturday.
Yeah.
3. And he shot even par.
That's what I say. It was like
That
Thursday to
shouldn't be
Friday was a
happening.
huge difference, and then Saturday to Sunday was a huge
I
difference.
thought I heard, so obviously I said 23 out of 56 for the tournament. I thought they said he hit 4 of his last 21. So most of his fairways hit had to have been Thursday and Friday. And then he just like stopped.
Yeah, he hit
them.
7 each day.
Right.
Thursday, Friday at 7
So
each
there's
day.
14 of the 23 right there.
So he hit 3 fairways on Saturday. And you shot even par at the Open. Like
Right.
most years you go out and you shot even par, you probably hit 8 or 9 fairways.
Yeah, and he was, like you said, he was 41% fairways hit, and that was probably like top 30% in the field. I mean, that's crazy.
He was 25th, I think, in fairways or somewhere right around there.
That's crazy that low of a number, but then obviously.
So I looked up the driving accuracy numbers. There was only 2 people. I think I looked at the top 10. Top 15 maybe. Top 10 or top 15. Only 2 people on that list in driving accuracy for the week finished in the actual top 10 of the tournament. And that was Rory and Harris English. Another thing that stands out that just shows that driving the ball was not a premium, which is typical of the U.S. Open.
Right.
And after stewing on this for days, then it was last night I learned that they cut the rough, which I thought they weren't going to do. I mean, that was what I heard, Tuesday last week. So clearly that made just enough difference. So, and Phil brought up a good point. I mean, you can't change it. It's wing foot. But he said the other reason that what benefited Bryson with hitting it so far down there, and even him not being accurate, there's nothing in front of those greens that protects them from running the ball up.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to mention is it's so easy to run those up. So obviously we know how much he calculates stuff. It probably really benefited him knowing I can land this 10 to 20 yards short, and it's going to roll up, and I'm going to be fine. And he probably just calculated that better than most guys did.
He did shank one Friday.
Did he?
Cold shank. He was in the rough. He tried taking a cut at it, and typical, took a jab at it. It came out dead right, and he got lucky. This thing was rattling. I mean, this thing was dead right. If there was anybody in the gallery, they probably would have shit their pants when the thing hit the trees. This thing hit all these trees. Cameraman lost it, and the next thing you know, he was 3 feet off the fairway in that first cut. And I'm like, wow, what a break that was. Of course, he hits it, shanks it, and he's looking at his yardage book like he'd read something wrong. I'm like, no, you shanked it. Yeah. So no apology out of me.
Yeah.
I'll give credit where credit's due. I mean, he won the U.S. Open, and I said he wasn't going to win a major, and he did. So it's whatever. But
Same here.
So
I
what
just still think the guy's an asset.
What were your final thoughts, I guess, of the U.S. Open? Was it what you wanted it to be? I mean, for me, whether you like the setup of it or not, the way the golf course changed over the weekend, I know you thought it played a lot easier than a U.S. Open should have. And I agree, Thursday and Friday, you should not be seeing guys backing up shots out of 5-inch rough. Just doesn't make sense in my brain at all.
Also glad you brought that up because I thought Bryson got the good end of the draw. The course
By
played.
his tee times, you mean?
Yes.
That was definitely the better end of the draw.
Yes, because we played golf Friday afternoon. So the difference there was it was pretty easy for everybody. Easier, I'd say, Thursday. And then Friday they went out. He played at 7:30 Friday. The course still had moisture on it, played soft. Greens had moisture in them. The wind blew 5 to 8 miles an hour. And by the time I left here, he was done. That's when Justin Thomas and the guys who played well on Thursday went out, and the wind blew upwards of 15 to 20 miles an hour.
And that's what, they talked about that is I mean, the wind blew Thursday afternoon as well, but the pins were much more gettable Thursday afternoon than they were.
I thought a lot of
Friday
pins looked like they were really gettable. I mean,
A lot of bowls they were putting them in. There were a lot of times where if they were behind the green and towers and they would pan down where you couldn't see a lot of the landscape, you could have told me that was 5 different holes on the golf course because they all sit in weird little bowls, like a bunker short-sided with a bowl and pin sitting in that bowl. Seemed like was on almost every green. You'd see the guys hitting it 10 yards long and letting it dribble around and roll right back towards the cup. Where what's that bunker even there for if you can hit it 10 yards past the flagstick and let it roll back towards...
It's kind of like the 18th hole, the last hole of the tournament, was kind of a prime example of that. He pretty much had it won already at that point, but he hit that tee shot into the right rough. The pin was front right, kind of tucked, and you think of the U.S. Open rough, you can't go at that pin, but he was able to just throw this thing way back left, almost to the fringe, and it rolls down to like 4 feet or something.
Yeah. A lot of guys were doing it. I mean, visually from the fairway, I bet you that pin does look tough because of that right side of that green on Winged Foot. It looked like that pin was probably you could probably barely see it. But when you know you can just, like you said, you don't really have to try to hit it a number. Yeah. You've got a 10-yard window, 15-yard window.
It takes all the hazards out of play because you don't have to worry about, I got a forced carry at 170 because you can hit it 171 or you could hit it 190. You can hit it in that whole window, and it's just going to wrap up and around. I mean, it was probably harder to hit at those pins on Thursday and Friday when it was firm because if you hit it up on that tier, it might just sit and stick. Whereas by the time we saw Sunday, they had turned on the sub-air under the greens where it's not going to stick. And you can get at those tucked pins easier on those firm greens, it almost seems like.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it lived up to what it should be as a U.S. Open. We saw Patrick lead at one point. We saw Wolf lead at one point. Then we saw Bryson sort of run away with it, if you will, even though I'd consider it more the field running away from him in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
If any tournament where you see the leaderboard shifting like that, it's hard to say it was a bad tournament, no matter what the setup looked like. I think they did a really good job of showing both sides of what Winged Foot can be. Because we did see some guys start to go deep those first 2 days, and you thought, couldn't have told you what the winning score would have been. I would have said it had been more than 10 under par Friday afternoon. Then cut to Sunday afternoon, there's one guy under par.
Which was more what I thought we were going to see.
Yeah.
I truly believed that no one was going to finish under par. I didn't.
Yeah.
And that was based off previous Opens there. It was based off things we'd seen, heard, read all week. And then what we didn't hear last week was, we cut the rough. That was clearly game-changing in that tournament. Clearly.
It's weird to do it on a Tuesday night, too, when you've had guys playing practice rounds, and then it's just like, here we go. We're going to make the course completely different.
I don't know. It really depends on what what's going on in those meetings between the USGA and...
Clearly nothing good if Mike Davis decided he was done.
Yeah, Mike Davis is done. I don't know if you guys saw that.
I always loved the way that the PR people, if it was a PR person, the way they frame up the resignation, saying, well, he's going to explore the private sector and go build golf courses.
Yeah.
I kind of find that hard to believe that he wasn't more pushed out at this point.
I mean,
it seems like
he's there for another year, though. It's through 2021, so he's got another year.
I guess.
So,
but it's still him.
Whenever you hear
it's
about
still him
it's
announcing
always,
resignation the day after the U.S. Open.
And whenever you hear about him, it's always someone complaining and him trying to answer those complaints.
Was it me last week that literally sat here and said Mike Davis is a moron and shouldn't be at the USGA? Like, I watched their press conference last Tuesday. I'm like, Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm like, these guys are idiots.
Yeah, I think your words were like, who cares about what these guys...
I don't. Yeah. It's just like they wanted their moment in the spotlight, and he is the reason that Shinnecock was lost twice during the middle of the U.S. Open, so just terrible. He's not good. I don't understand why he gets so much praise. I don't. And no, I don't want to play any of your golf courses if that's how you set up U.S. Opens. I just don't. But anyway, I digress. Final thoughts on the U.S. Open, gentlemen.
Yeah.
I
can't get excited about it because Bryson won. I'm just not a fan of him.
So, the good news is the next two majors will be played at Augusta.
Yeah.
Definitely looking forward to that.
We are less than, I think, 50 days, 48-ish
Sounds good to me.
to November.
Can't be far.
Yeah, it's like 48 days. I'm curious how he's going to play there. Like, what's going to be your strategy there?
Yeah, I saw somebody they might have asked Colton Ost what he thought Bryson would do. He said on the back nine, he'll hit driver every hole except maybe 10. Is the only hole he probably won't. There's no reason not to
at Augusta.
Well, he's like, there's no reason not to hit driver on that back nine the whole time. So,
I mean, there's no rough, and then there's pine straw everywhere.
Yeah.
So if you're a shot shaper, what can you really do to get yourself in that much trouble?
Right.
I mean, we know that you can get yourself in trouble for sure easily at Augusta,
Right.
but there's no rough, and everything that's off the grass is pine straw.
yeah,
It's not like an open course where you can get yourself in 3-foot deep fescue or what we hope to see this week where you can get yourself in 6-inch rough.
So I'm going to go back to his chipping.
True.
I was just like chipping and putting's key at
I mean,
Augusta.
he's putting great. It's if you miss it in the wrong spots at Augusta, it's chipping. You have to use some. I felt like this week his chipping didn't. I'm not going to say get tested, but I never saw him where he had to hit some sort of manufactured chip outside of the basic. Like, I'm just going to chop it out onto the green. I didn't see anything other than that. You could get to Augusta and you got to like be severely short-sighted, and you have to like have some touch. You can't throw it 40 feet past the hole, let it come back 6 feet.
And he's only played, I think last year was his first Masters,
I think so.
I believe.
He would have qualified by winning the U.S.
Oh, so
the
you were saying, yeah.
that's right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I don't think he gave up that exemption either by turning pro. I think he waited and played in it. I would. I mean, he'd be stupid to give it up. So
I mean, I think we'd all putt pretty well if we took 10 minutes to read every single putt, no matter if
It is
they're
crazy.
5 feet or. It's just, you can talk about him all you want, hitting it far. He's the scientist, whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to endorse him as being good for golf when people watch paint dry, basically. Like, if there's anything that golf
There's
needs,
one
it's the
guy-
pace of play.
Right. But there's one guy right now I feel like that's even worse on the greens than him is Dustin. Dude, he's very quick getting to the green, but around the green, if you watch him now, dude, it's forever on the greens.
I'm fine with that if that's where you take your time.
Right, and that's what they said. He's probably playing average speed, but on the greens he is slower than hell.
Yeah, if that's where you want to take your time, I'm fine with that. It's just
Yeah, not to beat a dead horse or anything, but I remember seeing many times. I've even walked a course with Bryson playing, and if he's got like 65 yards to the green, you bet your ass he's walking 65 yards to the green and then walking all the way back, then doing all of his calculations, then hitting a shot. And it's like,
there
can
was
you
some
imagine if we all did that?
there's some conversation that people wonder if that got to Matt Wolff on Sunday.
There were a few times talking about the amount of time Bryson takes to putt. There were a few times where they showed Matt Wolff where he had holed the ball first, and then he was practically standing on the other tee box waiting, because it was one of those things where, you know, out of courtesy, you stand watch for a second, and then you maybe go to the fringe, hand your putter to your caddy. And there were a few times where he went through those routines, and next thing you know, Matt Wolff's already like practically on the next tee box, and Bryson's still lining his putt up.
I hadn't really thought of that component, but I'm sure you've encountered it playing competitive golf. You get with that guy that's playing at that pace, and
Yeah.
A, it's mentally draining. B, it's frustrating as hell because you're trying to set up a tempo, a pace of play. And it's just like when you're playing casually and you run up on a foursome ahead of you, and all of a sudden that momentum that you have is gone. Yeah. Except you're trying to do it all day for 5 hours with someone.
Yeah.
I don't think I can't think of anything that stands out, me personally, like being paired with somebody. But I've definitely been in tournaments where I've been behind somebody. It's like you got to try to find a way to slow yourself down, do something, but
Yes.
I don't know.
Let's move on. I'm sick of talking about him.
Same. Football week 2.
Yes, sir.
What do you guys think?
Well, the Bills are 2-0. I'll take that.
Bills are 2-0, and Josh Allen leads the NFL in passing.
Yep.
Yeah, we're still not talking about it on ESPN. But I don't know if you saw Twitter earlier. They had Dan Orlovsky was on ESPN, and he was they were talking about the games this weekend. And Orlovsky said the Bills will beat the Rams, and Josh Allen will continue to throw his name in the hat for MVP. So I tweeted Orlovsky, and I said, he doesn't know it, but he's really part of Bills Mafia. And it went to commercial. He liked the tweet. So that's the only guy in ESPN I'm giving credit because Josh Allen goes out and throws for we're all Bills fans, but Josh goes out and throws for 400 and some yards, four touchdowns, and you turn on ESPN and like it's crickets. They're talking about how the Cowboys game or whatever. I'm like,
I'm fine with it. If they just fly under the radar again.
Yeah.
And,
yeah, it helps my bank account because when I go to the sports book, so thank you.
Yeah, except they let the fucking Dolphins that last touchdown.
That's the only issue I mentioned to you Sunday when we were watching is both weeks they've had really strong first halves, and then if they could just get a touchdown or two in the second half and kind of pull away and make the game easy, but they haven't done that either week.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to see that happen.
And hopefully Milano and Edmonds are back this week because that's really hurt them the first 2 weeks.
Yes.
They don't need him. I don't think they. I mean, obviously they're a big help if they're there, but I don't think they need them this week. But certainly against the Raiders and Jacobs, they certainly need them in the lineup next week.
Where it hurt them is, what's his face from Miami at tight end had a big day.
Just like he had.
Yeah. It's because most of the time Tre'Davious White had to guard him. There's a size difference there. You can just body him and just catch the ball. That's where your linebackers come in. So I have not heard anything. If I had to guess, I'd say
they practiced today.
Did they?
Limited, so
I feel like Milano's had that lingering hamstring injury.
he's always had a little bit, but
yeah,
I don't even want to talk about injuries this week.
So
Holy
injuries
shit.
were the theme of the week.
It was nonstop.
I sent that in the group chat, right? That list.
Yeah.
Almost an entire octopus worth of ACL injuries.
it might have actually been because somebody got hurt Monday night. I can't remember who it was. Someone got hurt and it didn't look good. It looked like a knee. I didn't see the official injury report.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was one of Seattle's defensive backs.
Yeah,
safeties.
So I was waiting for them to say it on TV and it didn't because I would definitely dispute it. But injuries based because there was no preseason, which to me wouldn't make any sense. If anything, there should be less injuries because you didn't have a preseason. You should be healthier. And
yeah, I don't buy into anything injuries being related to preseason or not. Personally, I don't know.
And a lot of those ACLs are.
These guys are still working out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Going through practice, and I don't quite buy into that.
Yeah, I don't either. The big one though was San Francisco. That's scary. And if you're San Fran,
Yes,
they're going back Sunday. They play the Giants in the same stadium.
Right.
So they beat the Jets. Apparently they went to West Virginia, which is kind of odd. They've been there all week, and they go back and play the Giants in the stadium. Apparently they complained about the turf.
Oh, really?
Said it was so the turf was installed this summer, and they said it was sticky. Is what they said.
And the Giants play at home week 1? Is that they played Pittsburgh? They played against Pittsburgh in New York, right?
yes.
I think so.
I mean, Garoppolo's injury was someone rolling up on his ankle when he was tackled. To me, that's not turf related. I thought one of the other major injuries they had was a shoulder or something.
Yeah, I forget what Mostert. I don't know what he was.
Bosa tore an ACL.
Bosa's was, yeah. So
And even like the running back there, Moser or whatever his name is.
I didn't think he had. His wasn't a leg though.
It was a knee. It was a mild knee sprain, but it's like the same thing. He wasn't like running. It looked like someone kind of like leaned into him.
Yeah. So
They said they did complain about the turf, but
That sounds very Princess and the Pea-ish to me.
yeah,
especially when you win 31-6 or whatever the hell it was.
yeah. I would stay away from San Fran for the next couple of weeks betting if I were you guys. Quick advice.
What'd you think of the Raiders Saints game? Did you watch that Monday night?
Yeah, my my leather Cheerio was puckering. I had the over in that game.
So did I.
The Raiders were just chewing the shit out of the clock, and finally they scored. Luckily, which got Drew Brees back. Which, by the way, I want your guys' opinion on this. Drew Brees didn't look that good, and he hasn't. They beat Tampa, but he didn't look that great. And
So I wasn't surprised. I'll start with yours. I was not surprised with it because Mike Thomas was out.
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge loss for them.
He's out till mid-October.
And they don't have, besides that, they've got third on the depth chart wide receivers. You know, they don't have anybody else that can step up and play that top receiver.
Emmanuel Sanders.
So, yeah, 5 years ago.
He did all right in San Fran.
Yeah. But yeah, I think Mike Thomas being out, so I don't think the game surprised me. I feel like Breeze's timing just looks off. I don't know. I don't know. It's not.
He didn't look sharp.
Yeah, I think it's just the timing looks off, and
the best he looked was in the last drive when they went down and scored.
Right.
That's the best he looked. I mean, he threw for less than 200 yards in week 1. The only reason they were over 200 yards as a team is Taysom Hill came in and threw a pass.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I can tell you that I've been working all day on the picks, and it's been kind of difficult. I mean, if you dig into some stuff, it makes a little more sense. It's easier to figure out. But injury wise, it kind of eliminates some teams. Like I'm not going to touch the Giants, even though they did sign Devontae Freeman, which they said he's probably going to play Sunday. I'm trying to think about. I mean, Carolina won't touch. He's out for at least 3 weeks.
Yeah. So going back to the Saints, the Michael Thomas thing, they asked if he was going to play this week, and they kind of gave a generic. We're going to have to see where he is. So I think his injury is actually much worse than they're leading it to believe.
I saw that he's listed mid-October return.
Oh, really? So they initially said They initially said like day to day when he got injured.
No, I saw like 6 to 8 weeks on him or something.
Okay.
Did they put him officially on the IR?
I don't know that. Yeah, they could because I
think
the IR is only.
What did you want me to look up?
Is Michael Thomas on the official IR list?
Yeah, because I think the IR now is only like
it's 3 weeks,
3 or 4 weeks. Yeah.
It's 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Because that's what McCaffrey is at right now. He's
the couple days after when he got hurt. I saw 6 to 8 weeks.
Okay. Yeah, because initially I think Peyton said in his initial press conference early last week, he's probably not going to play this week, but we might see him the week after. So that'll definitely hurt them because they play the Packers, I think, this Sunday night, or Monday night maybe, whatever it is.
Prime time.
They've got Trey Hendrickson in, and they think that he'll be out for 3 weeks.
Who?
Michael Thomas.
Michael Thomas is out. Trey Hendrickson is in.
He's still listed as
3 weeks.
So I'm looking at the ESPN app. Right now they have him as of today at 5 o'clock. He's given 2 to 4 week timetable to return. So I don't think he's actually on the IR.
So basically, like all NFL injuries, it's extremely secretive, mixed bag number of weeks, and we won't know until he's on the field.
So the day before or the day of,
high ankle sprain.
Yeah, which those are the worst.
That's what they have listed. So there's some injuries I'll never understand in sports. I get football is extremely physical, but some of like the non-contact, like hamstring injuries and shit, I'll never understand when you have literally everything at your disposal. Doctors, physical therapy, you got everything right there. I mean, you can show up 3 hours before the game and they'll stretch you if you want to.
Do you think there's definitely teams, and there's one I can think of that's had a lot of injuries in the past couple of years? How much of that's just on the trainers, or is it partially on the players not doing something or whatever? But
could be a combination of both.
Yeah, I think because I think you've seen it a lot is guys have. I think a couple times in hockey we've seen there's a lot of injuries, and then next thing you know they got a new trainer the next year because.
Yeah, I think that's probably a pass the blame excuse kind of thing. I don't know. To me, ultimately, it ends up on the player's shoulders to make sure they're doing the right thing.
Taking care of their body when no one's looking.
At least we're not the Chargers doctors.
We'll get there.
Yeah. I was going to say, well, you asked about football in general. I've got some stats and whatnot, but maybe we got to wait till our stars and duds of the week.
I mean, I'm at 6 strikeouts, by the way, boys.
Nice.
What inning are they in?
They are in the 5th inning.
Kyle needs 7 strikeouts from Evaldi tonight.
How many pitches is he at?
It's just 63.
Oh, nice. Plenty of time.
Yeah. No, it's.
I was worried he'd gas himself out before he got there.
Oh, that's what you said.
Score this hockey game.
2-1.
2-1.
Let's keep it that way.
End of the first.
Yeah.
No, it's fun having football back for crying out loud. I mean, I had 2 TVs in the living room this weekend because I was trying to watch U.S. Open and football.
You were in such a wonderful mood, too.
Don't act like you were in a good mood because Bryson was in the U.S. Open.
As per usual, I was falling asleep in your recliner most of the day.
Yeah.
So
it's all right. That's what it's there for.
Did he have to go to work after or no?
I actually worked beforehand. At a real people.
Real work.
Actually worked.
Actual work. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm glad football's back. Bills look good. I think they have a tough one this week. If they can get at least
They have the
Edmonds.
next couple weeks.
Yeah, if they can get at least Edmonds back this week to help, that will help with the run game and force Goff to make some throws in the secondary he probably doesn't want to deal with.
Yeah, and obviously it'll be. Luckily for the Bills, they've got 3 good receivers. I'll throw Davis in there, I guess 4, but having obviously Ramsey back there will be it'll be tougher on Allen.
But that's the best part is before Buffalo didn't have that many receivers, so you have Ramsey guarding a mid-tier receiver. So now you got Ramsey guarding Diggs, that's a good matchup. But who's going to take care of Beasley,
Brown,
and all those guys?
Knox is. I assume Knox will still be out this week, but
I heard he's playing.
oh right, he didn't practice. He says he's still in protocol. I thought I saw.
I thought they said today
on
on
their
ESPN that
injury chart.
He was playing, but
I mean, he could definitely be off the concussion protocol by then, but I think he's got to be in. I think today was the last day he had to be in protocol. So.
It's got my 7th strikeout. What's up, boys? Come on, give me some. Yep.
What does that pay out?
Don't worry about it.
What were the odds without telling your
Plus 550. Yep,
It's a good bet.
it's a really good bet.
I'm well aware. You're looking at me
They've
like I
got.
don't know. What that means.
They've always got those boosts up there. If you catch them at the
Yeah.
right time.
What's that? Plus 550? Keep it moving. Anyway, speaking of bets, 7-3. So if you're not reading,
Well, I need you to. I'm making a 15-minute drive on Friday, so I need to.
I could potentially be available. Picks will be ready. I'll have to do it. I mean, tomorrow's my anniversary. I already mentioned that. Yeah, I'm 7-3 so far in the first 2 weeks. I've even had a couple risk that I've thrown out there. Or not risk, some of the avoids, like don't play this game, but if you do, throw that out there.
This week's really tough. Picks.
It is, but it isn't. As much time as I've spent on it today, I've realized that some of these injuries have just kind of narrowed it down to I'm not going to even look at that game. So I have some good ones I think you're going to like. I have a lock for the week I can announce right now if you guys want.
Why not?
I hope it's the same one I'm thinking of.
You guys ready? Falcons -3 in Atlanta. Playing the Bears.
That wasn't my thought, but I like it.
Look at that face over there. What did you have on your mind?
I really like the Packers Saints over.
That was the next one. The over?
Yeah. Packers as well, but I like the over. In that
I
game.
like the Packers getting 3.
It's because I thought they were in New Orleans, right?
They are, but
So I that's why I like the over in that.
the
New Orleans
books
scores a lot at home. What are you turning your nose
That's
up about the Bears? Because they came back against the Lions? Is that like the problem over here?
I don't know.
I find
I
it
don't think
interesting.
that
I find it
game
interesting that you're talking up the Saints' offense after you just talked about they're screwed without Michael Thomas and Drew Brees doesn't.
Saints offense. Derek Carr played well, and his offensive line just crumbled over and over. It wasn't like
We're talking about the Saints, not
Saints,
the Raiders.
Not the Raiders.
I know they just played each other. We just got to see that matchup.
I know,
Yeah.
but that was the Saints defense. I don't know. I don't know where he's going with that.
I guess my brain is melted over here, but we got to see both sides of that
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I agree with your analysis on any side of that.
No, yeah. So I don't like the Saints offense much, but they seem to always score points at home, no matter who's playing. So, and I think Kamara is much better on the turf than anything. So, and I haven't watched the Packers much this year. I just know they put up like.
what's the over
40
under on that? I don't have my book in front of me. It's over there.
I thought I saw like 56 or 58.
Ooh, that's steep.
It's a lot,
Really?
but the Packers have also been putting up like 43 points. So
yeah, but
it's,
Green
and
Bay
the Saints defense hasn't been. They've been okay. So
Yeah. I'll tell you the one I like is my I'm not going to go through all these. I'll give you one more. My risk for the week if you're trying to make a little bit of cash would be to me it wouldn't be that surprising. the Raiders getting 6.5 against New England in New
New
England.
England.
I just feel like there's not a lot to home field advantage this year.
No, there's not.
Definitely not. I agree with that.
So
Even the stadiums that we've seen fans, it's not.
which, by the way, I was just going to say this, which reminded me. The Vegas looked pretty good versus the Saints.
Yeah.
They were like a 5.5-point underdog. They ended up winning, and then Cam Newton. I mean, it's just I don't know, but yeah, they won, and they lost. They put up a lot of points to a Seahawks defense, which I think is probably like middle of the road ish this year. It's not as good as it's been in the past.
And had few injuries in that game.
Yes.
Early in the game.
Early. So there was that. But you retweeted or liked something the other day I saw, and I'm like, that is absolutely true. Cam Newton throws for like 180, or he throws for less than 200 yards versus Miami. He runs for 75.
Mm-hmm.
And what would you hear about Monday morning?
MVP.
MVP, man. He's back. Cam Newton's back. Josh Allen throws 400 yards. Nothing.
They just played the Dolphins. That was it.
That's what the response was. Yeah, but it was the Dolphins.
There's
it's just
a shred of credit to what they said, but at the same time,
what credit?
They played the same team.
They played the same exact team
New
back to
England,
back weeks.
week 1, New England played.
oh, I thought you were talking just week 2. They were
No,
saying
no.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying the same
Week
day
1,
they were talking.
the Patriots.
Okay, gotcha.
Patriots played the Dolphins. Cam threw for less than 200 yards, ran for 75. The story on Monday was we got MVP Cam back. He broke the Patriots rushing record, which couldn't have been that hard. He had Brady there for how long?
Right.
And then
Bledsoe
the next,
before that.
75 yards was what broke
yep.
the.
And then the next,
For a quarterback.
yep. And then this past week, the Bills play the Dolphins.
Brady runs for like 50 yards a season.
Yeah.
But didn't you say a Patriots record?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
they had Bledsoe before that. I mean, they haven't had running quarterbacks.
Telling
Only
me-
been around for like
I know,
15
but it's just
years.
crazy to think they didn't have one game where Bledsoe ran for 75 yards.
Just
Have you seen Bledsoe and Brady run?
Have you seen Ben Roethlisberger take off for 10 yards here and 10 yards there? It could happen with that big bastard, let alone someone more athletic.
He runs a lot better than those two do.
Yeah.
I think anybody can squeak out a good rushing game every once in a while. That's why it's impressive to say that number was so low.
either way, those were his numbers he put up against Miami, and then this past week, Josh threw for 400 plus yards and 4 touchdowns. And the response from mainstream media, ESPN, was, yeah, but it was the Dolphins. Same team.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm fine with them being the underdog.
I think that's just, I don't know. I think you're overthinking that. To me, that's just the big headline this offseason was the whole Patriots quarterback situation. To me,
Right.
that's all about what did Cam Newton do in game 1 with the Patriots. It's not really,
Max
it's
Kellerman
not
had-
legitimate MVP talk after week 1. It's
Right.
just
Well,
following up on the offseason story.
But Max Kellerman, he's so good at what he does.
Yeah.
I think it's the mustache that Allen's got.
Things.
Dude,
That's not a mustache. That's a molestache.
yeah. He needs to shave that and cut his hair. He looks like a
You can't right now.
13-year-old.
I want to know how long it took him to grow that. And then at that point, I'll give him a kitten some milk to lick it off, because there does look like there's a lot of substance to that thing. All right, let's move on to hockey.
Your under bet is not looking good at the moment.
What?
Yeah, 3-1.
So we're watching Game 3. We are in the Stanley Cup Finals now, we should say. Dallas and Tampa. That is new since last week. So series is tied 1-1. This game, early in the second period, Tampa looks like they're dominating. So they're up 3-1 in this game. Their captain, Steven Stamkos, who got the second goal, he's playing for the first time in 200 days. He's been out with a very long-term injury. Dallas is that team that I keep betting against, and they just won't go away somehow.
Yeah.
I didn't think there was any way they'd get through Vegas in the conference finals. I didn't think there was any way they'd get through Colorado.
They're not
just
making
keep doing it.
Yeah, they're not making mistakes.
Yeah,
They're just playing very solid
yeah.
offensive side, defensive side. And when it seems like when they score 2 or 3 in a 10 or 15 minute span. But that's all it takes them
Yeah.
to get on the board.
So
I admit I've been slacking. I've been watching a ton of hockey. I'm sorry, guys.
I've definitely been watching. It's the Stanley Cup Finals I have to watch. So yeah, they're only in Game 3, so we'll have a big update on that next week. Is that the series could be over by then?
Yeah,
I think
it will be right. First time this weekend, the Stanley Cup will play back-to-back days, Friday and Saturday.
Yeah.
Games 4 and 5.
Yep. And it was weird Monday night flipping my channels between Monday Night Football and the Stanley Cup Finals. It has to be the first time that's ever happened. So that was odd. So that is what it is. We'll update the Cup Finals next week. But the main thing, so this, we all know this whole offseason is just weird. Usually the NHL has a huge award show that happens in Las Vegas every year. I shouldn't say every year. I think for the last 5 years it's been in Vegas. Before that, it kind of jumped around. But they usually do have a big formal award show. This year they basically just announced the winners because you can't do
an award show.
do anything in person. Excuse me. So there's a lot of awards in the NHL. The 4 major ones, in my opinion: the Hart Trophy, which is for the league MVP. That went to Leon Draisaitl of the Edmonton Oilers.
Who also won the Ted Lindsay, I believe.
Okay.
What's the Ted Lindsay?
It's the top sports. I forget exactly what it is, but I saw he won 2 awards that night. Can we look that up, Statman?
Sorry, I'm looking at my own stats. What do you want me to look?
Ted Lindsay Award.
By your own stats, do you have talking about a chick count or something like that over there?
Oh no, I was actually looking ahead at basketball. Sorry.
Basketball.
So Nathan McKinnon was his second in voting, and Artemi Panarin was in third, again, for the Hart MVP. There were some rumblings on Twitter. People were upset. Somebody was upset that Jack Eichel got a few votes, which, when you're talking about MVP, the guy, your value to your team, there's probably nobody who's more valuable to their own team than Jack Eichel.
That team might have won 10 games all year without him.
Because the difference between him and the second best player, if you will, on the team, is that gap is probably bigger than any team in the NHL.
It'd be like being pissed off that Mike Trout gets votes.
Think about it. And Draisaitl, obviously now there might be other talk, but he's not even the best player on that team.
Correct. So somebody on Twitter mentioned that Eichel shouldn't have gotten votes because they believe it's whether your team wins the playoffs factors in big time. But then technically, they were in the qualifying round, but technically the Oilers didn't make the playoffs because they lost the qualifying round and didn't get into the standard playoffs.
They were just in that.
Yeah, so that kind of threw that argument out the window, in my opinion.
So the Ted Lindsay is the MVP of the league voted by the players. So,
Okay.
It's basically like, I don't know if we talked about it on air, how Justin Thomas got the Player of the Year, the points-based thing, but then
Dustin Johnson.
DJ actually won Player of the Year.
Yeah.
Kind of the same thing. But in this case Draisaitl won both. I think, so Connor McDavid is the best player in hockey. He's the best player on the Oilers, therefore. He had a stretch where he was injured, January or something. He was out for a few weeks, and Draisaitl kind of took over, elevated his game, and kept the Oilers winning while putting up monster points. And to me, that streak kind of won him the MVP.
yeah, agreed. Yeah.
So
It was. I wouldn't argue the decision of him winning it.
he would have been my pick. The Norris Trophy, that's for the top defenseman. That went to Roman Josi in Nashville. John Carlson in Washington came in second. Victor Hedman, who we're seeing in Tampa, came in third.
Scored the third goal.
Hedman to me is the best defenseman in hockey.
You better not score anymore either.
What do you got?
5.5.
Yeah,
You're in trouble.
screwed. Especially when you almost have to factor in an empty net goal at the end of these games, or 2. Anyways,
Such a vibe killer, Russ. I was all pumped about the 7 strikeouts. You're just like,
Vezina Trophy.
fuck your money.
Vezina Trophy for the top goalie in the league. That went to Connor Hellebuck from Winnipeg. And the Calder Trophy, which is for Rookie of the Year. This was one you ask 10 different media people in the hockey world, you get 10 different answers. But Cale Makar from Colorado won that. He would have been my pick. A lot of people thought Quinn Hughes, who came in second, was a shoo-in. Dominic Kubalik came in third in Chicago. There are a lot of people arguing that, I guess analytics people arguing that Adam Fox, from New York Rangers defenseman, should have been the winner, yet he wasn't on the ballot of the final three. I don't know.
He plays in New York, that's why.
Yeah. So those are kind of the four major awards handed out in the NHL. There is a longer list. He's got it. I don't even know what happened.
Over here.
Jesus, did you go to the award show? Like, were you announcing it?
Titillating.
Who got the Jack Adams award?
Bruce Cassidy, Bruins.
Boston coach, yeah. That's coach of the year.
Do you have a beer over there?
Not quite.
Do you need one delivered?
Should we call, like, Postmates?
No, I'll send a text. I'll get you
Postmates.
He was telling me about some other Postmates in Detroit this weekend.
When he said he was looking at his stats, I'm like Tinder stats? Like, do they keep those?
God.
How many times you swipe right? How many times you swipe left? Like,
And how many times it paid off?
he was seeing if his percentage was higher than
do
Bryson's
these
fairways
girls
hit.
have do they have profiles like baseball cards? Like,
For $4.99 a month, it's pretty easy to get your money's worth.
Oh, boy.
No comment.
Nope.
Shall we talk a bit about basketball?
What? Basketball?
Or do you guys want to stay on the hockey thing?
I was gonna.
I'm done with hockey because, like I said, we only got one series going on. The awards are the only news.
What do you want to talk about
I just-
basketball?
I mean, it deserves at least a minute of talk. We're an hour and 1 minute in.
I'll be honest. I haven't watched any basketball other than the same 8-second highlight of Anthony Davis draining a three. The only reason I'm paying attention tonight is because I got Boston -3. And I'm still not even watching the game.
I watched a couple of games of that just because I had money on them.
The only basketball I've watched was the fourth quarter of last night's Lakers-Nuggets game, and that was only kind of on for background noise.
Takeaways?
The Nuggets lost, therefore LeBron lost, so I was happy.
And Nuggets won.
He means the Lakers lost.
Yeah, Lakers lost, therefore LeBron lost, so I went to bed happy.
Lost with a triple-double. I guess that's what happens when you pass it to the
Yeah,
same player the entirety of the game.
They kept talking that up a bunch of times just in the quarter that I watched. Oh, LeBron's got another triple-double. It's this many. It's like, it's the playoffs. It doesn't matter when you lose.
Predictions?
Predictions or hopes?
Yeah, those are very different.
Yes. How about yes?
I'll be realistic. I believe the Lakers will win this series.
I'll echo that.
What's the other series at right now?
It's 2-1.
2-1
Miami's
lost
leading.
Miami.
Miami. I
the
think
Celtics
Boston's going to come back.
That's been a really good. I watched games 1 and 2. I didn't watch game 3, but those were two good games.
So I'll say Boston and the Lakers advance. I'm not educated enough to make a guess on who will win.
I'm not big
I'll
on
tell you who
basketball,
I hope wins.
but I really like watching Jaylen Brown play. I like watching all the Celtics games, just in general.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. I've always said that I don't watch a ton of NBA. I'm not a fan of the play style. I prefer to watch college basketball because I feel like there's more people on the floor at a time that give a shit about the game and try and play defense. I would like to see the NBA basically move to a play style of college and defense and allow zones, like true zone defense. And we'll find out who the smarter coaches and players are because that's like a chess match on the basketball court, in my opinion. That'll never happen because it doesn't suit the casual fan who wants to see a run and gun dunk chuck up the 3 a game. That was pretty good. I just threw that out there.
That
was nice.
Yeah, thank you.
that's next single coming out.
Throw that on a T-shirt.
But I think as glad as and happy I am that they are getting the sports in and the NBA is playing, I feel like part of the lust of watching the finals or any playoffs at this point in the NBA is gone because there's no fans. It sounds weird because, a month or 2 ago we were all like, man, I just want them to come back. I want to play. We want sports. But I feel like there's that atmosphere in playoff basketball that you don't get in the regular season, probably similar to hockey.
I would agree with that. I do think basketball, the little I've watched, basketball is missing the fans more.
It's like it's like turning your TV and watching a glorified AAU pickup basketball game.
Like Summer League, the Gatorade League or whatever.
That's more entertaining, actually.
So usually I usually always watch the finals, but it's usually because it's in June and there's
not
regular
much else.
season baseball on and that's it.
That's part of it, too.
So now this year, obviously, we got Stanley Cup will be over by the time that final start, but you're in the playoff baseball, so I probably won't watch much at all.
Maybe the finals when they come around, I'll try to pay attention a little bit more.
I think if the Celtics weren't still in it, I'd be kind of done with it.
Yeah.
Also, like, when you go out and there's all the TVs on the wall, somehow basketball seems to capture my attention more than anything else. I don't even really like the game, but when there's no volume on any of the TVs and you're at like a sports bar, it seems really captivating. So that's where I seem to get all of my basketball watching in these days.
Is it the bright colors you like? Going back
It's
and
gotta
forth?
be.
Do you have a spreadsheet for your stats? Asking for a friend.
Should I?
I don't know. I'll hang up and listen, though. Don't worry, your beer's on the way.
Gonna need it now.
Um,
It's getting hot in here.
I do want to get into the UFC.
Nelly.
Yeah.
So there is a fairly large anticipated fight this weekend that kind of, I'm going to say, flew under the radar with all the sports going on. But
Yes. They are back on Fight Island, we should know.
Yes.
They're back over in
5 weeks, I saw.
Dana
Yeah.
White's staying over for 5 weeks.
something like that. So, yeah, they're back in Abu Dhabi, Fight Island. I forget the arena name. They actually have a name for this arena now.
It's on, is it Yas Island or something like that?
Yeah.
Yas
That's
Island.
the island, but they actually have a name for the arena.
She hauls beer like a Clydesdale. I love it.
What?
Jesus.
Have you not seen Budweiser's commercials ever?
Yes. But
Oh, because of the dogs?
yes. Okay.
Oh, all right.
So I don't think I'd be calling a friend's wife a
Who's
Clydesdale. but-
currently 8 months pregnant.
It's definitely a compliment.
Oh, okay.
So
Israel Adesanya and Paulo Costa is big
Yeah.
fight.
I'm looking forward to this one.
Are they friends? Or kind of? I saw a meetup with them. They like met in the hallway.
they
and
ran
were
into
just
each
kinda-
other.
Yeah, they're
There's
just kind
been
of talking
some-
and chatting. But
Yeah, there's been some shit talking going on
where
there.
usually those big matchups, you don't see that. as
I don't
often.
think it's a legitimate personal hate. It's just like
Costa,
chatter on social media because one's a champion and one wants the belt.
Paulo Costa said that they ran into each other somewhere in a hallway, wherever they're at, and he said Adesanya was completely cordial. Put his hand out, shake his hand, asked how he was doing.
I saw the video. There was a video.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't
Even
see
like
that,
he was like,
but-
"Oh, Acosta, you look thinner," or something, and Acosta corrected him. He's like, "I'm not thinner. I'm just leaner," or something.
Have you ever seen this guy fight?
Which
Costa?
one? Yeah, I think I saw him. I don't know, a couple months ago when he fought.
So I don't know about you. I have Costa winning this fight. That's my prediction.
Okay. We should know Adesanya, so MMA, not just UFC. Adesanya is 19-0, Costa's 13-0. So this is a matchup of two undefeated fighters, which we don't get the privilege of seeing that a whole lot, especially for a belt.
Not after that many fights. Usually it's like
usually somebody's got a loss or two.
Yeah.
This is a legitimate matchup of two undefeated fighters. We've talked about Adesanya before. He is very confident, cocky. He's called out John Jones before, which we agree is stupid, unrealistic. However, I strongly believe it was a marketing ploy on his side
Probably.
to
We've seen it how many
promote
times in the
himself.
past, right?
Yeah, to promote himself. And to his credit, it worked because a lot of people know who he is just from that. Despite the John Jones call out, because I'm a John Jones fan, I tend to enjoy watching Adesanya. I do believe he's one of the best strikers in the UFC. Costa is a hell of a fighter. You don't get to 13-0 by being a slouch, but
it's tough.
I still feel like Adesanya is going to pick him apart and win this.
I would go with that, except for Adesanya's last fight after winning the belt. He fought Romero. It was like he wouldn't engage.
Yep. And ironically, both of these guys, their last fight was against Romero. Wins over Romero. Should have noted Costa's if it was a decision.
Romero's the guy that's got like the monster shoulders.
Huge.
And shit, right?
Yes.
Huge.
Looks like he can't move very much. He's just.
Paulo
It looks like
Costa.
me walking around.
The other fight on this card
wish.
that is John's vacated belt is up for grabs. Dominic Reyes is fighting Jan Blachowicz for the light heavyweight belt. So this will be the first time, and I believe 11 years, that neither John or Cormier has held this belt.
Yeah.
11 years.
So Costa's win over Romero
Taylor was like
also
5.
a decision, not a finish.
That fight was nuts.
Yeah.
Costa's a tough dude, and he's big for that weight class.
Yeah.
This fight has my attention.
Yeah.
Like, don't call, don't text, don't talk to me during this fight. I want to see every bit of it. So,
Yes, I'm in no way, shape, or form discrediting Costa. I just think, I don't know. I've got confidence in Adesanya striking. Adesanya's definitely, Costa is big, but Adesanya has to have a height and reach advantage, I would think. And like I said, I think he's one of the best strikers currently in the UFC. I'm going with Adesanya. If it weren't for the John Jones call out, like I said, I would probably be a enormous Adesanya fan. It's weird, right? Because we just bash DeChambeau, and then I say that Adesanya's confident and cocky, but I'm a fan of his. I don't know.
I mean, saying
It's all
that,
about how you go about it.
saying that about a UFC fighter. I mean, if you're playing Guess Who of UFC fighters, you put basically 0 people down.
True.
You know, that's not really narrowing the field. It's not like you really. It's not a sport where being arrogant is going to really come up against you to hurt you.
Yeah, you're right. So, yeah, I'm going with Adesanya. The other fight you just mentioned, Reyes versus Blachowicz, light heavyweight. It will be weird to not see Jones or Cormier in that fight.
for the belt, yeah.
I'm very interested in that fight, see how that goes. I don't want to say that I don't care about it, but
I'm excited. It's like refreshing to see some different names going for a belt.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as you like the other 2 names, it's nice to see things moving along.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from there. I do. Yeah. I think it was time for John to move on anyway. I really do.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times can you clean out the division? I mean, I felt like his last few fights, Reyes surprised me. Reyes looked good, which I'm going to take Reyes winning this fight Saturday.
Yeah.
Other than that, I mean, the other guys are good fighters, but they were not quite ready for John. But there was nobody else for him to fight. Therefore, you get title shot. You get your ass kicked. Yep. So that's kind of my feelings on that. But it was time for John to move on. I mean, we all knew at some point he was going to go to heavyweight as big as he is.
And I'm more excited to see that than I would be to see him stand there and defend his title anyway.
I am too.
Yeah.
I want to know how big this guy's going to get. I know how big he is, like, non-camp. I've stood next to the guy just casually walking around, and I felt tiny. He made Ryan Wilson look small. Ryan's not a small guy.
Right.
It's good size.
Yeah.
You think if he puts 40 pounds on, we'll hear about it in
Yeah,
the media
do
constantly?
Yeah, doing 6 weeks, 6 months.
How many protein shakes a day are you drinking?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I'm pumped for those fights. And
Yeah.
5 weeks over there is crazy because that's where the Khabib fight's going to happen. Khabib fighting Gaethje.
Yes.
Yeah, because I think Dana said they built him the exact gym basically he has in Vegas over there.
Oh, I saw
Exact same equipment, everything.
Yeah, Dana's got he posted a video the other day on social media. It's pretty crazy, like his whole setup. I mean, he's going to be there for 5 weeks, so I don't. It's pretty sweet, but
I think even post COVID, they're going to keep going back there. This is going to end up being
100%.
a second Las Vegas.
Oh yeah, and they're building a hotel in Vegas. The UFC and said we're going to be self-sufficient. So
I think all these amenities that they're building isn't just for 2 or 3 trips over.
he's
there.
literally built
They're
an
gonna
empire.
they're
My
gonna
favorite
keep going.
Dana White story, by the way, is I love this guy. Like he doesn't give a shit. He just says what it is. My favorite Dana White story is he lives in a community in Vegas where you can't have a pool, like an HOA type of thing. Dana White has a pool and he just pays the fee every month. Like how?
It's like parking on the wrong side of the street and being like, I'll just take the parking ticket.
Yeah, except for it's more expensive.
It's a little more expensive.
Well, I mean, relative to our incomes, it's probably pretty similar.
Is that not big dick energy or what? I mean,
It is. However, I've never understood HOAs and their
Yeah,
stupid
they're-
ass rules.
First of all, why would you
I
buy
will-
a house in there if you know you can't?
I will
don't know.
never.
Maybe it's the only place you
Yeah,
buy it.
I will never live in a development where you've got to pay these kind of rules and people tell me what I can or
did you hear about
can't
Ron
have
trying
in
to
my house.
buy a condo in Florida?
Oh, yeah.
They told him they called him. He was going to put an offer in. They said, "Oh, the realtor called him and said there's a clause you can't have a dog over 20 pounds." He goes, "I'm out." He goes, deal breaker for me. And he goes, besides, aren't smaller dogs more of a pain in the ass to take care of? They shit everywhere. And
That's what I think. My in-laws they're older obviously, but they have an HOA. But they wanted to like put, I don't know what it was, Christmas lights. Put Christmas lights outside. They had to be the white strings. You couldn't, or something like that. I'm like, really? That's what the
Yeah. No.
and they wanted to like repaint
Clark
their
Griswold that house.
They wanted to like repaint their mailbox, but it couldn't be like you only like 4 colors to choose from.
It's like that commercial.
You will never find me living in a place like that.
It was
crazy.
I'd go full Clark Griswold, Christmas shit everywhere that you could see from the moon. And
Clark,
tell them to,
shitter's full. Someone tried to justify to me that the homeowners association costing $300 a month was worth it.
For what?
That's basically what I said.
What do
Well,
they
they
do?
mow, they do your maintenance.
I mean, if you don't want to do
this
any
person
of
we
that,
were just talking about.
Yeah. I enlightened him and told him my rent is $450 a month.
Yeah.
And they mow my yard.
The only thing about him paying that cost was he said that also included water and electricity or something like that. So to me, that's
still not a bad deal.
if you roll those bills into that, then
Do I know who said person is?
yeah, it was Ron.
Yeah, it was Ron.
Oh,
Yeah. The HOA cost down there, he said, was like $300 or $350, but
That
I
seems about normal for
unless I misheard him. I thought he said it included electricity, and I thought he said even water and like trash,
including electricity in Florida when you can have your heat blast or your
hot
AC
tub
blasted.
and yeah.
That's not a bad deal at all.
Just that number caught me off guard. We are really in the weeds, though. Right
That's
now.
all right.
Okay. I like that. These are our best combos.
By the way, I'm up to 8 strikouts.
Well, it doesn't matter anymore.
I think we're good.
But you're going to lose this one, so
But you need no more goals in this game. You're at, yeah, I don't know. I don't think you're hitting it.
I can take one more.
What?
No,
it was
you
that
can't.
high?
Yeah, I can.
It's 5.5.
5.5.
Oh, yeah. I can't
five
take one
right
more.
now. Yeah.
Math guy.
I didn't realize it'd be that high. No wonder you took it.
He's
I thought with the series being 1-1, this would be a very tight defensive battle, low-scoring game.
yeah, Tampa's just dominating this.
You know, that goalie better start standing on his head making some saves.
So,
I
yeah.
think that was the problem he was saying on his head, one of the goals.
All right, you guys want to move on to 3 stars?
Well,
Why not?
Do you want to talk a little bit about golf match yesterday?
We can.
Just a quick touch base
Did you?
because
Did you
I don't
watch
I don't know
No,
if you
I
didn't
like
watch
It
any of it.
happened during the
Just-
day. I didn't.
Yeah, I recorded and then I watched the whole
I just saw
goddamn
it.
fucking 4.5 hours of it last night. But again, Justin Thomas was. Yeah, I don't know. Justin Thomas was
Sounds pissed off he did it.
was great. It was
It was great. Oh, this whole goddamn fucking 4 hours. It was great.
Thomas was great again.
Oh,
With
mic'd up?
Yeah, mic'd up.
I
He was,
love him.
I think it was the first hole. They get down, and first of all, Tiger's new course is absolutely gorgeous.
Oh,
it was
sexy.
awesome.
So
So they
the-
have like coyotes and roadrunners just running around.
No, yeah.
It's in the Ozarks.
I'd right swipe it.
Jesus.
Throw that extra.
Is this, I assume, because his son was there, this course is a tribute to Payne Stewart somehow.
Payne's Valley.
Yeah,
Right, yeah.
yeah.
So
He
that's,
grew up 50 miles south of there.
They had Payne's son playing with them, didn't they?
No,
he
he
just
just-
hitting
he hit
shots or
He hit on
his-
the 19th hole.
Yeah, he hit
hit
the
the
ceremony.
opening tee shot
Yes.
too.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't know if he had played the whole thing.
Oh,
or not.
Okay.
And don't think Russ is drunk. There is actually a 19th hole. Everybody, a legitimate 19th hole that wasn't there
2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
They just put it in.
I've talked about Spit and Chicklets podcast a few times, and Ryan Whitney plays a lot of golf. He's told some incredible stories about bigger courses that have these 19th holes and settling some of their bets
Yeah.
on them. And then he's talked about like the 19th hole, they play it, and then the bet wasn't settled, so the members noticed there's like a boulder over there, like 100 yards away, so you'd like hit off the fringe towards the boulder and stuff like that, just to settle bets. I love the idea, a 19th
A bet
hole
setter?
for settling bets. Yeah.
The course is in absolutely gorgeous shape. But even on the first hole, because I don't think they'd really seen the course, because even later on, Faraday was talking to Rory, and he asked him, if he had changed a diaper. He's like, I changed one this morning before I even flew in here. So they like literally hadn't seen the course. And so Thomas was just off the green on the first hole, and he's like, Tiger was talking to Rory, probably like 20 feet away. He's like, Tiger, do I need to bump this? Do I get it up in the air? He didn't say a word. He goes, all right, good talk. Thanks for chat.
I'm curious how much Tiger actually. I mean, they said they consulted him on it, I'm curious how much input he actually had in it, and how much of it was just like his name on the golf course to sell it.
Yeah, it was his. It was his TGR design or whatever it is. Because I think Gary Player was the main designer of it.
Yeah, Gary was there.
But they said he was out there walking the course a lot, constantly.
I would like to play that place.
Dude, it was.
It's not that expensive. I looked it up today.
I know. We need to put it right in the books right now.
It's like $150 to play there. They have packages there for the other courses, which I heard are like really good.
There's 5 or 6. Gary Player has a 13-hole course.
That's really popular in Florida right now.
Really?
Old people don't like playing 18, and 9's not enough. There's a lot of 13 and just random numbers.
Jesus.
Imagine being like, what'd you shoot today? Oh, I shot 59.
Come on.
It's 13 holes, but I shot 59.
Yeah.
They probably got an HOA that doesn't allow them to have more than 13 holes. That's just stupid.
I thought the course was great.
If the old people don't want to play 18, then go play 13 and walk off the course. There'll be 18 holes.
It's just like when
You're holding me up anyway, so walk off after 13.
it's just like when you try and squash someone's honor, right, for the tee box, and you go 500 years of tradition,
does
and
he
right
know
now
about
you're
that?
going to break it.
Right.
Ooh, that one
That
caught them.
was
The only thing that broke there was wind.
dude wipes.
Even to Taylor's comment earlier, though, we did find out Rory's on a big Domino's kick. Apparently, though, they were
Did you
talking
see
about
this clip?
That was a great clip. I did.
talking about pizza, and he's like, "We just love Domino's."
So here's what tipped my ear to it was I saw a tweet that said, Rory's got so much money, he basically just let Justin Thomas know without telling him that he's poor.
And I heard somebody else saying he probably does like Domino's, but he basically just put out this big endorsement to, hey, Domino's, come sponsor me.
That's true.
I mean, if Domino's gets a hold of him and starts paying him, a sponsorship, $250,000 a year or something, then it was genius.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm
I
mic'd
think-
up. I'm going to drop this company name.
That's exactly
pizza
what they
slice
need.
on the collar.
When's the last time
That'd
you
be
guys
sick.
ate Domino's pizza?
About a year ago.
I can't. I know I've had it.
Yeah.
I
Russ
couldn't tell
Russ
you.
has had a lot of Domino's pizzas in
Is
his
there
lifetime.
one even close here?
Yeah, there's one down in South Corner
Yeah.
now,
Oh,
no,
is there?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So I actually probably had it
Crossing-
like 4 months ago.
crossing the building company now.
Oh, okay. There used to be like a
It's-
Fox's there.
Nah.
I worked
Meh.
there. I worked there for years, slinging pies all over the
He
city.
said, he told me earlier, he said, everything at Domino's is really good except for the pizza.
They have so much more shit now than when I used to deliver.
Russ, it was like,
yeah,
do you
that-
want cheese or pepperoni?
Pizza, chicken kickers.
We are kinda
ranch or blue cheese with those.
We're kind of spoiled in this area, though.
The chicken kickers
are,
have
yes.
talons.
We declawed them all.
Oh, that's
We are.
great.
For a small town, we're pretty spoiled with pizza places.
Oh, yeah.
Good pizza places.
I wish
We need to have pizza here next Wednesday.
I could make that happen.
I like it.
We need Portnoy here to actually review and settle that long-standing debate of what's better.
Yeah,
It's no
It's
debate
not.
for me.
it's not close in my opinion, but
What is it for you?
the big A.
Okay.
Yeah. Anelia's with no questions.
Shh,
asked.
don't drop names. They're gonna
No free
I'll
ads.
let them know.
no free ads.
As
But
Biz
have
would
you
say.
guys had Sbarro?
In what country is that in?
Every airport on the planet.
Well, one other good joke last night on the golf. Tiger. Oh, Kyle's bet's done.
There goes the under. And
Five-
Tampa is running away with
5-1
this game.
Tampa.
Just a bit outside.
Sorry.
You might be kicked out.
I gotta watch that movie. again.
Tiger Faraday was like driving around like a huge ATV. First of all, he got lost one time. He went up the wrong hole, and then he's like Faraday, did we lose you? Yeah, I was wondering where everybody went. I went up the wrong hole, so he was all over the place.
Guy's awesome.
But
I love Faraday.
Tiger was riding in the cart with him. He goes, I'm trying to figure out how to hit it further. He goes, well, those skinny ass legs you got, you ain't using your legs much. So then he's like, Tiger got a cart, and he goes, guys, you know what we call it? A Faraday. He goes, we call those Wednesday legs. And they're like, what? He goes, Wednesday gonna break.
Oh my god,
that was
that's more of a wah wah.
there you
Yeah,
go.
there we go.
Just to make you happy.
All right.
What are you?
Are we moving to 3 stars now?
An idiot sandwich.
Oh, nice.
That actually turned out okay.
I'm going to come down here at like midnight and he's still going to be here putting up sound bites on the board.
I like it. I support
too.
this. I support this.
All right, we doing 3 stars now?
Sure.
All right.
Want to?
Who wants to go first?
Why are you looking my direction as if
No.
I'm the one that picks them?
Go ahead.
You got a dud?
Maybe.
Maybe.
When
Be
does
patient.
He definitely got a dud.
he's always got a dud.
Hashtag no duds.
If he doesn't, then he definitely.
If
I
not-
sent him one just in case.
If not, we all have the dud. I think.
Kyle, what did I tell you?
I know.
What?
Said you said him a
Acts
dud.
like he's hot on the trail of something as if I hadn't already seen it. Thought about what I would say.
All right,
I sent it to you like 3 minutes after it got tweeted.
Last week, stat guy was high. This week, he's 3 beers deep. I love it, though.
Watch out, 3 beers.
They're heavy.
Really good, actually. I was
Yeah.
surprised. Not much pumpkin going on like I figured.
No, it's not.
Well, it's
That's
not
not-
pumpkin.
yeah,
it's
it's
What the hell is it
Oktoberfest.
then? What's in it? It tastes just like beer. Beer just all tastes beer.
It's like a thicker fall.
It either tastes like nothing or it tastes
Don't
like
tell me
beer.
that tastes just like the natty ice you were drinking at 9 a.m.
No,
2
this
weeks
tastes
ago.
like beer and that tastes like alcohol fizzy water.
Watered
I don't
down
know.
beer.
Alcohol.
It tastes like pain.
All right. Someone throw out their first star.
All right, I got a kind of a. I couldn't come up with a true 3rd star, so I got a couple of guys. First, Edward Roussard, who was an amateur playing U.S. Open from Spain. His first hole in the U.S. Open, holed out for eagle. Pretty impressive. He did finish second to last in the entire tournament, but he started with an eagle, his first ever hole in the U.S. Open.
Should have withdrew.
He would have came in
I'm
second.
done.
Yeah. Just won my skin.
Then my other 2 guys for the 3rd are Zalatoris and Reed for the hole-in-ones.
Hole-in-one.
Zalatoris almost had 2 in the same day.
Yep.
He hit the flagstick on.
I was just
next
happy.
par
I was just
three.
happy someone chopped Reed's skin.
Nice.
I want to know if someone's got a skin spot going at some of these tournaments.
That would be fun. If
Do like an 80% payout and we'll take 20. Don't tell him that. Just like $100 a man. And
There can't be many skins in a day, if any. Yeah, I mean you got to dunk one. It's really your only choice.
that'd be an interesting thing to look at.
Because
Yeah, it
even
would.
even
It'd be
on
easy to find
even on
out.
Thursday, I think there was like 4 hole outs on 1 for eagle, just on Thursday.
I mean, some of those greens were like putt-putt greens. You just throw it anywhere and it'll come back.
I was going to say, that kind of proves our point about the pins being down in bowls collection areas.
Yeah.
Should we say it? These guys are good.
Oh, God.
All right.
All right, 3rd star. 2 of them. The
God,
Was that an S or a Z?
it was both. The Cleveland Browns running back tandem. Were you laughing at me?
I just didn't expect you to say Cleveland Browns.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, they did good.
They're going to the big dance.
They played. Yeah, I'm not saying that. They played the Thursday night game last week against Cincinnati. Came out with a 35-30 win. Nick Chubb ran for 124 yards with 2 touchdowns. Kareem Hunt ran for 86 yards with a rushing touchdown and also had a receiving touchdown. So the running back tandem, 212 yards on the ground and accounted for 4 touchdowns. That's
Pretty good.
pretty good.
That wins you a lot of football games.
So, yep. So Cleveland Browns running back tandem, my 3rd star of the week.
My 3rd star of the week is Justin Herbert, who, although they lost the game,
Herbert.
finding out about 10 minutes before the game that you are now starting,
Yep.
didn't play too bad for a guy who's a rookie, 2, found out 10 minutes before the game he was starting, and then you almost went out and beat the Kansas City Chiefs.
Should have.
Yeah, he screwed up. He could have ran for that first down, but those are rookie mistakes. So he's my 3rd star of the week.
How many stars you got over there? Do you need to throw one in here?
I just have a dud.
Okay. My 2nd star is Bryson. Give him credit. And I don't want to take too much credit for this, but I did say under par and win by 6 shots last week, so
You said 6 shots?
I did.
He did.
That's a good call right there.
But
I recall saying
that was
under par
my
as
bold
well,
statement, just a
but
random
You
out there.
specifically said Xander Schauffele
did.
would win.
Well, at first
5.
I said 2 under and win by 6, and I think it'll be Schauffele.
Okay.
So who's the star here, Bryson or you?
More
Both.
me.
Both.
67% me, 33 him.
Crickets.
Something.
I'm just gonna
Oh,
go
that's
straight
even better.
hardcore to the boo. Just leave it for a second. What? What?
What?
Fair enough. Who was your third star?
Justin Herbert.
Oh, yeah.
Her bear. It's French.
Then it'd be a bear, not
No,
her bear.
Her bear.
Anyways, second star, we've already talked about him. Josh Allen. 24-35 passing for 417 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, and he was named the AFC Offensive Player of the Week. So Josh Allen. Steal your thunder.
You.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm gonna go with Matt Wolf because although he didn't win, the way Matt handled himself on the golf course Sunday, while he continuing to grind, and his attitude after the fact, speaks volumes for what we just talked about at the beginning of this podcast. It's pretty easy to root for a guy like Matt Wolf when he's on the golf course acting like a professional. First U.S. Open, finish second, get you back next year automatically. But yeah, he handled himself extremely well. Never quit out there. It felt like. So I'm gonna go with Matt Wolf.
I definitely agree with you. I mean, you can't argue a tie, or not a tie too, but an outright second place finish. And what was it? The last major was a 4th place finish.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's going to win
But
a lot of majors.
I hope so. I really do. But the thing that worries me is, what did he have? 5 bogeys on the backside on Sunday? I mean,
Yeah,
he
he's-
really backed off.
yeah.
I don't know if that was nerves or just the way the course played.
Could have been
But-
pressing too.
But I'm afraid that we might see a chronic choker out of him. It's not even that he choked. You can't say, well, you finished second place, you choked. But to see the way he backed up, and he was missing every putt he stood over for the last
missed
2 hours of the day.
He missed the 5 to 8 footers that Bryson made. That was the difference.
Are you saying it's an Oklahoma State thing? Him and Ricky?
That's a whole nother wormhole to go down with Ricky. But I'm just afraid that we won't see him close out, or not for a while until he matures more. I mean, how
He'll
many
get
majors
there.
has he played in? 4 or 5 now? Right?
I don't even think it's that many.
Wolf 2.
2.
That's it.
Yeah.
So
Well, as a
this
professional,
is
he
definitely
played in one
premature.
as an amateur.
This
I
is
think,
definitely premature to say, but when people get themselves into that position, I'm a firm believer they either have it or they don't have it.
I will agree with that to a certain degree.
And I'm not saying this was evidence of whether he does or doesn't have it, because we all know that even the great players backed up on Sunday.
I think you have a valid point for someone who's been there a few times. It is, I guess,
If Dustin Johnson had done that, we would all be calling that a choke.
because he's been there before and he's comfortable.
Yes, that's why I'm saying it's premature, but it worries me.
You'll live and learn, and once you've been there a few times, you get more comfortable in that position. And then yes, either you have the it factor or you don't. So yeah, I agree with you to a degree. Sure.
And I think that's where he struggles, right? Is his putting. That's probably his.
He did struggle. He struggled Friday really bad.
Yeah, that's probably his weakness of his game. is his
Struggled really
putting.
bad Friday putting. So Matt Wolf.
So my first star was Josh Allen, but I'm going to switch it up. Harrison Butker, who made 3 field goals in the last.
Shit.
That's what he gets for taking mine. Made the same field goal 3 times, basically. One from 5 yards further because of a penalty to beat the Chargers in the comeback.
So your first star, Russ, is
It'd be Harrison Butker.
okay.
Yeah, I'll elaborate a little bit. So he was technically 3 for 3 on field goals in the game. 2 of them were 58-yarders that tied Kansas City's long record for long field goal. He made the 30-yarder as time expired in the 4th to push it to overtime. Then he made a 53-yarder while play was blown dead for an offside penalty. Pushed back 5 yards. He made a 58-yarder that was blown dead on the timeout. And then he made the live 58-yarder. So for a guy to stand out there, have to think about all that shit,
They did everything
And
that they possibly could
Yeah.
have to shake him up.
and drill 350-plus yarders was impressive to me.
Yeah,
to
that's
win
ice
the
in
game.
the veins for sure.
You know what? If he misses that field goal, then the guy who got the false start's in big shit.
Yeah. You and I were texting a little bit while that was going on. I said to you that this guy's, in my opinion, he's the best kicker in football and has been for a few years now.
Yeah.
I told you he's like a robot. He's automatic, and he backed up my statement.
Yeah, that was impressive.
So Harrison Butker.
My first star is Josh Allen, for obvious reasons. On top of everything you mentioned, he is leading the NFL in passing right now. So
It's just hard to watch him and not put him as a star.
yeah,
And his complete. Obviously, everybody complains about his completion percentage. He's at 71% this year, which is.
And it's nice to see him.
He's clearly
making attempts.
improved upon
Yeah.
that this season.
It's nice to see him making attempts, throwing it down the field. We saw, I think, a lot more in these first 2 weeks of this season of him really going for the 25 to 40-yard throws instead of the little 10-yard try and get a first down.
yeah.
He's actually throwing it down the field, and now we're seeing him put up real big boy numbers finally. A 417-yard game is really impressive.
Yep.
You follow up your 300-yard game with a 400-yard game.
Yeah.
Yep.
My dud of the week, funny enough, I can't even put a name on it because as hard as I look, they've left him nameless. I think for obvious reasons because maybe I wouldn't say his medical license would get taken away, but probably won't get much business.
Well, I don't think he can get sued. So
Oh, I'm sure he's got plenty of paperwork to keep him safe. But a Los Angeles Chargers team doctor, that's the extent of what we get about him, accidentally punctured Tyrod Taylor's lung. I mean, I'm not a doctor, but that seems like a bit of a miscue when you're giving someone a painkiller. But the funniest statement about the whole thing is one of the PR people for the Chargers said, quote, "It happens."
So I agree.
mean, that's dud worthy every day of the week.
I agree with the dud 100%. And I thought the same thing. And then probably just before you got here tonight, they interviewed Dan Orlovsky on ESPN, who was a quarterback, and he said he had this shot done 3 times, and they told him before they gave you the shot, there's a high chance this could happen. So I think it's more common than we hear about.
So do you think the dud almost needs to go to like the training staff as a whole for why are you giving him this?
well,
right
he had
before
a broken
game?
rib.
Broken rib.
Well, I
He
know
needed
that.
If he doesn't
Would he-
get it, he
would
might
he have
play
started-
a series.
Would he have started had he not gotten it?
Yes, but if he doesn't get that and he takes one little hit, he's probably not playing.
They also said the shot has to be administered like right before the game.
Oh, that seems so freaking.
But
risky
yes,
to me.
I agree with the dudness of the timing and the way it worked out.
You had one job, bro. Don't
Yeah.
stick it too deep.
yeah.
But keeping Tyrod
That's what she
Taylor's
said.
feelings in mind, this was like comical. It's a comical story.
It
Your
really
own
is.
doctor punctures your lung, giving you a
In
shot.
story of Tyrod's career, I think he's going to lose his starting job over this.
Yes.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, what
think
was the name of the
Herbert
guy?
looked-
What was the name of the
Justin
guy first?
Herbert.
Yeah, for him to come out and play that way, kind of makes it hard to say why would we put Tyrod back in.
That's going
So
to depend
I don't
on
know
how he continues to play.
I don't know if Lynn said anything since, but on Monday he said Tyrod's still our starter as long as he can play. So I think they're still under the assumption like let's let Herbert just sit behind him for the season.
He's not playing this week.
Who?
Tyrod.
He's out this week.
Yes.
Yeah, he said as long as he's healthy, he's going to be our starter. So
Yeah, he's definitely out this week. They've already said that. So
We almost saw our first week of hashtag no dud. That was kind of last.
we could have found one.
yeah, we'd found somebody.
Yeah, 100% could have found some. I would have scoured the internet for you.
Oh, go ahead if you got something.
I just have an announcement
I would love to hear it.
that only 2/3 of you actually probably know about, but I'm going to Pinehurst in March, and myself and Hurley and Cookie will also be going now. Well, I don't know if Hurley's officially in, but it was a National Club Championship tournament happening in Pinehurst, middle of March. So my wife made me jump at the opportunity because I just kind of like brushed it off. But props to my wife. Our anniversary is tomorrow. She doesn't listen to our podcast. It was her idea for me to go to this and just take the opportunity to do it. So just wanted to let you guys know that.
So you starting to GoFundMe or
No, No, I've already paid my entry fee, and just want to let you guys know that the three of us Jamokes are going to be in Pinehurst representing the area. Hope we live up to some standards.
Yeah, isn't Hurley's going to Bandon Dunes as well? He told us.
So he leaves
This weekend.
Yeah. Forgot about
So
that.
he's going to be in Pinehurst with us. Granted, if everything went through for him, but his plan is, I talked to him on the phone today, he'll be in Pinehurst. We play Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. He's going to drive to Raleigh, Durham, and fly out to Denver.
Yeah,
to
he
go
was,
to
he was
Bandon.
telling us
Yep.
going to Bandon in
Just
March.
kind of the way that timing of it is, he's going to be out there. So, other than that,
Awesome.
You know, we could maybe talk for 5 minutes about the great turnout from your tournament this past weekend.
it was good.
I mean, unless you don't want to touch on it.
I
I
mean-
mean, you put money in your pocket, didn't you?
No,
You didn't put any money in your pocket?
God, no. Why would I put money in my pocket?
I thought you guys got second overall.
No.
No.
Just a bit outside. So-
I thought you were referring to, like, did we scrape the top of the pot?
That's what I thought he was talking about.
I
I'm
was
like,
like, God, no.
well, so what does that mean? That
that was a quick talk.
The Ames family just
We paid out.
scraped it up, huh?
Hold on. Full disclosure. Not only did we pay out 70% of everybody's entry fee back into the field, we each threw in an extra like $100 to even out the pots.
Nice.
Yeah, I was going to say,
I thoroughly
did not
enjoyed
win.
myself. So
yeah.
We lost more money than everybody.
Yeah.
I figured I just figured you had
No.
No.
any anecdotes or fun stories.
You should ask him how many of his, on the alternate shot, how many approach shots he hit. We did not use my drives. I'll tell you
One.
that.
One.
And that's because I hit a 3-wood where I didn't need 3-wood to hit it into the pond, so I could.
No, it was a good time.
Yeah, I mean,
We hit far less fairways than the guys in the U.S. Open.
The Ames family played extremely well during the alternate shot. Extremely well.
yes, they did. Yep. Everything went smoothly, other than the frost delay, unfortunately, because we didn't even tee off till.
It was kind of
Almost
nice though to have that
11:30.
excuse for everybody to sort of stand around and mingle.
No, it was, yeah. I tell you what's
We wouldn't
really
have really
annoying.
gotten that either way.
You know what's really annoying? It didn't really, like, I don't want to say it affected us, like, speed-wise, because it ended up, we literally finished behind the group in front of us.
They were playing slow though.
Yeah, I don't know what they were behind, but we finished right behind them.
Yeah, there was like we were teeing off 18. There was like a 3-hole gap between them and the group in front of them.
It was hoppy, so.
Yeah.
The average person doesn't get the concept that just because your tee time is post frost delay does not mean you still go out on your tee time.
You got to squeeze everybody else out first.
Hence the two twosomes that went out in front of us in the middle of the tournament.
That's what we were talking about. I'm like, we went in after the 18.
Yeah.
I'm like, Rupert, did you guys send? He's like, no, we didn't send anybody out. And I was like,
He wasn't there. He went out on the course because they had the issue with the car.
oh, right. Yeah, and I'm like, he's like, no, we didn't send anybody out. I was like, there was two twosomes behind Hoppy. And he's like, really? And then he's like, oh, yeah, there was. He's like, well, Danny and Chris and Kyle and Russ didn't go out till late because Danny and Chris were still mowing.
But what they should have done is gone out the back.
Yes.
Because Gordy and Ann went out the back and it was no problem. Like, that's what they should have done. And I kind of made that comment out loud because I knew what they were getting at. The one kid apparently knew who I was. I had no idea who he was. He said, hey, Kyle, are you the last group? And I'm like, yeah, we're the last group in the tournament. We're waiting for Danny and Chris. I thought that was fully implying, like, you go out after us. I don't care when your tee time
Right.
is. Like, everybody's delayed, therefore you were delayed. And, yeah, that apparently didn't apply. Danny, like, shows up with his clubs. He walks to Danny. He's like, are you Danny? He's like, yeah. Can we go out the front? And Danny's like, what? Okay. They dipped. They went to the first tee, and the two twosomes went out instead of going out the back like they should have. They didn't really hold us up, I don't think.
No.
They were a couple holes ahead of us by the time we started, and it's still just annoying the fact that they.
Yeah.
And so you guys probably didn't catch them till late on the back 9. Then obviously
No.
you didn't catch them.
Caught them on 4.
Yeah, we caught him on. Like,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there was a twosome on the 13th green. You guys
then-
were on 12th green, but there was probably another twosome.
And then
after
we
them,
made the
so
turn
that
after
was-
9 holes. The single behind us jumped in front of us.
Yes. That was worse. So now you get a single in a cart who catches up to them immediately,
He's got nowhere to go.
and the whole thing slows down. So we had to wait for.
He eventually got frustrated and left after 13, which I'm totally okay with.
Playing through doesn't build up pace of play. The only way to build pace of play is to have people skip holes.
It's just stupid. Like, you're the single in the middle of You're behind a tournament, whether you knew there was one or not. But either way, you're a single in a cart. You're probably going to catch somebody on a weekend at a golf course.
Yes.
And then there's clearly a plethora of people there because people were making a turn from both sides at that point. And we weren't inside that long. And he just made the turn and just, I'm going to go. And then on 11 green, he comes off 12. He's like, oh, I'm really sorry. I didn't realize you guys were making the turn.
He yells over to us while Chris is putting. So we ignored him. It's like, just get the hell out of here, dude.
But it was
public golf.
Dude, the best part was Danny and Chris both, Danny mowed, Chris rolled. Greens were fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Greens were awesome. So they were out doing that stuff. I see Chris coming in the side by side. He runs over to 18 to double check the tee because he came in and talked to me in the morning. I think Jeff had already moved the tee at that point. He comes in, leaves the side by side, goes inside. He goes, I think he needs some golf clubs. But before he went to get his golf clubs, he came out with the essentials. He had like a 6-pack of Blue Light and a Bloody Mary. He was ready to go.
That was peak Chris.
That was awesome.
It was awesome.
I'm glad he got to. I'm actually glad he got to enjoy himself. I mean, as much time as he puts into the golf course, and even Danny. But I mean, we know how much time Chris puts into that golf course.
And we know him really well, so it's really nice on those few occasions where you get to sort of see inside the ropes and have a nice chat with him. Yeah. And it's like, makes your heart feel fuzzy.
We had a blast. I mean, I'm glad we actually said going to the first tee, we're like, really hope they kind of play well. I mean, we were trying to not make them feel rushed. And we're like, whenever you guys are ready, like, it doesn't matter to us. Chris is like, oh, I'm good. I'm going to hit these 2 balls over the road. I'm ready to go. But it was fun. Next year we'll do it. Hopefully it gets bigger. Anything else, gentlemen?
Nope.
All right. May the betting gods be with you this weekend. I'll get you all your information soon. See you next week.